All right. Well, hi everybody. Richard Petrie here. I'm sitting in Wellington, New Zealand, and I'm speaking with Zeke Freeman. He's one of the stars of the Architect Marketing Academy, and we often see his successes roll through, and we try and promote the successes as much as possible. But Zeke's name is a regular feature. Zeke's sitting in Denver, Colorado, and we're going to have a quick chat with Zeke today because Zeke's going to be one of the key speakers at our conference in New York in April. And so we want to find out what he's going to talk about and a little bit about Zeke and some of the secrets behind the success he's had. So, hey Zeke, how you doing? Good to see you again.
Great, good to see you, Richard.
Yeah. So, hey, just the headline. What's the topic? Zeke is going to talk about basically how to add 3 extra services to your existing architecture practice, which for him anyway is allowed him in some cases to increase his revenue per client by 400%. And he said in some of those extra services he does a lot less work and less risk than the core architecture services. So can you give us a bit of a background on, even before you even come to that, how you came to be doing what you're doing, and I believe did you get laid off? That was the catalyst for having to.
Yeah, so I was telling you, I found myself on the corner of 15th and Wazee, holding a box and looking around with my 9-month pregnant wife coming to pick me up and trying to think how I'm going to explain to her, I just had the whole rugs pulled out from underneath me. I left that experience with the determination that, wherever I went next, that I would find a way that I had more control and security over our future. And so I did go back and work for another firm for a few years and had a good experience with them. But the whole time, I focused on creating kind of a side hustle business that when the time was right, I had the relationships in place and experience and the ability to start doing our own projects so that we had at least some more, it might be in my head, relative control over the projects and the future of what we're doing. So, that's kind of been our goal over the last 8-10 years, something like that, is we're trying to build something unique and provide a product and service that other firms don't. And it kind of lets us, stand out, but it also allows us to bring in more revenue.
All right.
And
So I want to go through what you did, but before we go through what you did and how you did it, you had 4 steps that you told me earlier that you thought your way through to get to this point.
Yeah, and I think I told you I didn't actually know those steps when I started, but looking back in retrospect, I can tell you what they were.
Right.
So we came in and we thought we were going to go be a developer. But the market told us we weren't ready. And so what happened is we went and we were seeking out investors and developers to go do these new projects, urban infill projects. But we didn't have the relationships, we didn't have the experience, we didn't have the portfolio to back up. And plus, the market had just been pulled out. So we worked backwards. We started building those relationships. And so that was the first thing, was who are the people that are interested in these type of projects, familiar with it. So we sought those guys out that were already doing it. What that turned into later on was opportunity, not in the developer stance, but in the architecture and what turned into the construction management stance. So, we built relationships, those turned into projects, and then we started adding services to those. So depending on where the starting point we were, one of those projects started as architecture, and we added construction management to it. Another of those projects that started as construction management, oddly enough, we weren't GCs at the time, but they needed a GC, and we said, we're a startup firm, sure, we can do that. So I went and got my GC license and started doing that. So to those guys, they finished the project, and then later on we added architecture. So we started at the first go with them. What we found after working with these developers and really having conversations to find what was the most difficult problem once the market heated up for them. It wasn't finding an architect or a GC. Those are a dime a dozen. It was really finding a good deal.
Right.
And we said, well, how can we help fill that niche in pain? And at first, we started just building relationships with wholesalers and real estate agents. And, that was great. We'd get a deal here and there, and we'd pass it along. But it wasn't at a sustainable level. And, all the really good deals would be taken first by the wholesaler or investor that got it, or their inside best client. And, so we said, well, we should, we could do this ourselves. So we could probably do it better, because not only do we, can we find the land, we can tell the investor what they can do with the land and how to maximize, their profit potential. And so my wife came on board with us about a year ago, and she went through, got her real estate license, and then we worked together as a team to focus in on our niche. We've stayed in the same few neighborhoods, same few developers. At first, we're adding to those now, and started a kind of a circle of love where we find the land, we give them a pro forma on what they could do with it. We'd take them through the architecture. If we needed to, we'd take them through construction management. And then on the backside, we can take them through sales and and maximizing their marketing on the project to get projects moving forward all the way through. So that's kind of our unique service that we're, creating and adding on to.
Great. And so you're going to take us through, so you said that by adding those extra services, you can potentially earn 400% more additional over and above what you would have got if you were just the architect. So the architect will get 4 to 6%, but by adding on those other services, it's about, I'm just telling up your numbers there, but it's about an extra 21% that can be gained from providing those other services. It's kind of handy when you get your wife to be the real estate agent as well. That's a great idea, especially when all that money comes back at home. So that's a huge boost, to an architect's. Architects work really, really hard, and they do a lot of work to earn 4 to 6% of the build, of the construction costs. A real estate agent will earn 6% of the whole thing, and work a lot less.
Absolutely.
Construction management.
A lot less. Yeah, and not to downplay it. There's really good agents and there's bad ones. There's really big GCs and there's bad ones. And there is skills that are required to do that. But you can build those teams. You can bring them in.
Yeah.
And if you look comparatively, I went to school for almost 7 years.
Yeah.
Still paying on school debts for those.
Yeah.
I decided in a month that I wanted to become a general contractor. I spent 4 weekends studying for a test, took a test, and was a general contractor. And about the same thing as a real estate agent. Decided in a 4-month course, to become a real estate agent. And you look at the fees that are associated with it. Architecture, lots of range, but 4 to 6% is kind of typical. Real estate agent, 6% is set in stone. It's almost like a heresy to offer something different to a real estate agent.
And that's the whole value of the building. That's not just of obviously construction costs. That's the whole building.
Right.
So you are going to take us.
Look at architecture. It's 4 to 6% of hard cost.
Yeah.
Real estate agents, you're looking at 6% of the actual sales cost. And someone might say, 6%, but they really only get 2.8 and 3. But here's the reality. If you're finding the land for them, well, you have an opportunity to either get 3 or 6%, 3 to 6%, depending on if you're the person that's secured that land like we do. If you get the sale on the project, then you're looking at, again, another either 3 if you have the listing, to 6 if you also get the sale. And then, what we focus on is multi-unit development. So we're taking, usually single families or single lots, and then we're trying to, densify and add more housing. So we're going to try to get as much projects on there as we can. So 2, 6 units, and each of those, is 6% down the road. So so easily 6% could be more. Again, not to underplay the real estate agent. I mean, it takes skills and takes marketing and a system in place, but comparatively, when you look at the amount of work that you've put in to become an architect, now you have the chance to leverage that. Most agents come in and are out, in a year because they don't have the network, they don't have the expertise. But as an architect, you have something that you can really stand on. Most agents can't come in and their whole piece is to not give you advice on it because they might be liable for it. We're already liable for it anyway, so you might as well, share some inside knowledge on, how to do a project well, and how to, increase this, the performance of a project and make a better project that people want at the end of the day. So you're really serving a unique niche and have an opportunity as an architect to leverage those skills 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, for 4 or 5 times the income. All right, so we'll wrap it up there. But that's a very cool perspective. Zeke's going to be taking us through what he does and how he does it in New York. So that's just Zeke's one of the speakers. Hopefully you can make it to New York. We will be doing recordings as well, so there will be opportunities to get that. But we'd much rather see you in New York. Hey, so thanks, Zeke. Look forward to meeting you in person in the Big Apple. And
absolutely. And my wife, who's much better looking than I, will be there as well. So
fantastic.
The real estate side.
Mine's the same.
Come to see me.
Good stuff. All right, thanks, Zeke.